morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. How are we doing this morning? How are we doing? Good morning, John. Good morning, Jasmine. Good morning, Brock. Wendy's on here. David's on here. Good morning, y'all. Let's see who else is on here. Good morning, Latrice. I love it. How we doing this morning? Danny's on here. Chris is on here. Good morning. Good morning. I see Fran is on here. Good to see you guys. It's cold here in Atlanta this morning. I really kind of thought we got teased by some warmer weather on Monday, and I thought, okay, for sure, the turning point. Spring's upon us. It's going to be good. No, it's cold again today. So I'm so glad that you guys are on here this morning. Tanya, good morning. Good to see you on here again, my friend. But I just wanted to say, come on here, introduce myself. If you guys do not know me already, my name is Justine Derby. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, and I'm a Metro Atlanta area realtor. And I am just here to kind of talk about our mindset. Last week, we touched on the Control Alt Delete framework, and I think we had such an amazing response from that. And I am so thankful for everybody who kind of just shared. They brought down their barriers a little bit, and we really were able to provide a really nice, vulnerable, safe space for you guys to kind of share. And I just really, really loved that. So today, I really kind of wanted to go over maybe that next part of that framework, which is where we kind of get into that framework of we're all chaotic, right? And we all kind of sometimes go into that panic, and that's when we have to remember to control alt and delete. But I kind of want to talk about that pause moment today and how we can kind of work through those feelings of being in that panic mode. So a lot of the times, we don't always need all of the motivation. We need to just be able to step back and stop panicking long enough to think clearly and have that clear definition. And I, for one, work on that each and every single week. There are new things thrown to us in life to where we do want to go into panic mode, because that's my initial reaction is I'm going into panic. Okay, I have to fix it. This is the problem. And now I have to go straight into running and fixing the problem. So when I get those feelings and those emotions, I have to remember, okay, anytime you guys face any sort of fear, rejection, panic, and you respond in emotion, most of the time, and correct me if I'm wrong, but most of the time, every single time you respond in that emotion, you almost always take a step back and you regret how you responded to that feeling, right? So it's really trying to be intentional. We all want to have that, like, let's fix it moment. I've got to take charge. I got to do it. Guys, I've had a lot going on in my personal life, a lot the last couple weeks, and I can either spearhead it straight on, or I can take a pause and say, okay, this is the situation that God has given me, and this is how I have to decide to move forward. It's my choice whether or not to help these people in my life right now that I have to do. And I'm going to share a little bit of the story, because I know my best friend would be open to me sharing a little bit of her journey. So my best friend is going through a very, very, very difficult time in her life. And unfortunately, her husband is very sick with some being an alcoholic. Okay. And it's been going on for years. And when he kind of goes into these really deep spells, she comes and stays with me, and she has 3 children. I have 2 young children myself, and sometimes that can be a very hard and vulnerable place to be. And so I will always welcome her in, right? My door is always open. So I've been trying to navigate, how do I deal with 3 children, her emotions, my business, everything else I have going on, right? And sometimes if I let it get to me, Brock knows this. I've shared a little bit of this with Brock, that I can let those emotions take over. And I don't ever want an emotion to take away from my clarity on what I'm trying to do to help her, right? What am I trying to do to help her in her situation right now? Because she needs me, right? And that's part of my problem. I'm a fixer, I'm a doer, and I'm a fixer. And sometimes that can be really hard. So, it's really taken a step back and saying, okay, how can we now make a plan to be able to help her move forward in kind of the crisis that she's in right now. And you have to think about, and it's hard on my kids. I mean, my son just walked in the background. I don't know if y'all saw him, but we're opening up our house and our lives to another family. And sometimes that can be hard. And I have to just remind him at the end of the day, why, right? We have to remember the why. And just to be thankful for the opportunities that we have to be able to help somebody, right, in that situation. So that's kind of what I've been dealing with the last couple of weeks. And I just kind of want to, that's what I do with you guys. I just kind of share you with my life and how I'm kind of moving forward, and hopefully that it can resonate with you guys as well. And it's made me open up my mind and my heart, and get a reality check on my emotions too. So just want to share a little bit of that with you guys today. Does anybody else have anything that they want to share where maybe they felt a moment where they felt just super chaotic, and maybe even be a little vulnerable and share with me when you reacted out of an emotion? Bethany, I would love for you to share.
So I am in this whole growing stage with the pause before the reply or the response.
Yes.
And I have been making progress on that, but I failed. I had a moment that I failed a couple weeks ago, but it also allowed me to pivot and correct it as well. So I was in extreme overwhelm. I was dealing with my son about to go into surgery, and I was still trying to work, keep up with my clients. My other son's passing out at the DMV, getting a permit, just crazy. All right. And I'm a mom first. So my mom emotions are like up there.
Oh, yeah.
And someone said something that was very accusatory towards me in a public environment.
Sure.
Or not a public, there was a couple people there. But at that time, I am not a person that is extremely confrontational. But I don't know what I had in that moment. I had enough. And I'm going to be totally transparent. I said, I'm going to tell you one thing I'm not going to do.
Right.
I'm not going to work with BITCHs.
Yep.
I don't cuss. It's not my personality, but I hit the point where enough was enough.
Right.
Accusations and just, total professionalism. But that point taught me two things. Number one, I stood up for myself, which was huge.
Right.
And number two, it also let me be able to repair that as well as a mature adult.
Right. Because you were able to take a step back and you realized, okay, maybe that wasn't the right thing in the moment to do.
Oh, no, I knew it wasn't, but I was pushed to that point.
You were pushed to that point.
But it doesn't make it okay. I still had to correct that as a business professional.
Sure.
And so, but that is a transparent moment where honestly, I was put to that point with, and it was everything. And I totally lost character for a minute.
We all do it. We all do it. But the fact that you realized it and you can admit see, that's the battle. And that's the problem that most people have, is they can't admit that they made a fault. And to me, you look like the fool each and every time if you can't admit to the fact that maybe you made a mistake. We're all human. We're all going to do it. Just own up to the mistake and say, you know what? That was really out of character for me. I want to apologize. However, this is how I felt in that moment, right? Because we all have feelings. We all have validations to our feelings. But it's taking that step back and that level of maturity and leadership to be able to say, you know what? Let me correct that. Let me correct that. And even if you didn't say it to that person in that moment, that's okay. You still took the time to step back and were aware of your emotions. So I applaud you for that, because it's hard to do, especially y'all being working parents. We are juggling stuff all the time that a ton of people don't ever even know, right? Nobody knows how much we really have going on. Nobody knows in my personal life. Nobody knows in my professional life everything that's going on in my personal life, and everybody in my personal life doesn't know everything I have going on professionally in that life. So I can tell you, first and foremost, the whole social media game is like insane, like to the point where I have people that are upset with me for not like tagging them in a photo or I'm just like, y'all, what is going on? What is going on? I do my best to try to be thankful to each and every person. But it's those tugs, right? It's those tugs that we feel from people all the time. And it's how we react to that, right? And we just have to feel good about how we're reacting. And there's some days where I'm like, screw the whole world, I'm just against everybody. But at the same time, I try to take a look back and look at maybe the other side of put myself in their shoes, right? Which a lot of people cannot do. I think that's very, very hard for a lot of people to do. So Bethany, I think the fact that you realize that you made the mistake, that's only going to help you grow to be a better, stronger person, a better leader, a better mother, because our kids see us mess up all the time, right? I mean, because we're close with our kids, we're comfortable with our kids. They're going to see us mess up. But my son will tell you, he'll be the first one to say, oh yeah, mom yells at me, but then she feels kind of bad about it. And if I end up saying or doing something that I regret, we talk about it. And I say, look, it doesn't make me feel good to have to yell at you and argue with you all the time, right? So kudos to you for realizing that and making that change. And even if it was just not said to the person specifically, but you realize it for yourself. Anybody else have anything that they would like to share? Maybe in the moment where they kind of just didn't respond in the right way. I know a lot of times in that panic mode, we tend to over explain, we tend to overcommit, we overgive to people, right? I know I'm not the only one. I know Bethany's not the only one. Does anybody else want to be a little bit vulnerable and share a little bit? Hunter, I know you're thinking. I see you over there. Just share with us. I'm going to call you out because I see it on your face. You're giving me all the right gestures. Let's do it.
Sure, we'll go in. I don't have anything off the top of my head um, currently, but I am engaged, and so living with my fiance. So I'll tell you right now, I've put my foot in my mouth a couple times already. So not anything super much coming to mind right now, but definitely like when things are tense, I like to like overcorrect, overdo too much. And so I think also in work, I'll have some uncomfortable conversations with people with insurance. I had one actually last night where their credit's not very good, might crush the whole deal. I was actually talking to Brock about it and trying to figure out how to be like very kind in that because it's a very emotional situation for them
Yeah.
where, they're like, they have a baby on the way. They're trying to buy a home and their credit just stinks. And like their rate, like it's an old home. It's a terrible situation for them, and I can tell they're crushed. And so now I'm like trying to play fixer, but I don't think there's anything I can fix. And so, sometimes you kind of just have to give them their medicine in a nice way and
Yes.
be there for them. And so I'm trying to learn that instead of like I don't need to work myself to the bone checking every carrier we own in the insurance world because it's all going to give me the same result. So
Right.
sometimes you got to kind of drop back punt and understand that you can't fix it. And like you
Right.
just have to
And
be compassionate and
that's right.
have a heart, and that's really all that you can do.
That is. And clients will come back to you each and every time for that, Hunter, too. And even being, on the engaged side of things. My buddy, I love you. Have a great day. Make good choices, work hard, be kind. Love you. Sorry. But being engaged and kind of going through a lot of that too, that's a lot, right? And how we can respond in gal, I've been with my husband since we were like 16 years old. So we've literally grown up together. But I remember there was a time, especially when we were engaged, the pressure's on at that point, my friend. And I would just say, go into all of the wedding planning and everything knowing that not everything's going to be perfect and she wants that fairy tale, every woman does, and just give her a little bit of grace because we do turn into bridezillas sometimes. So give her some grace when those moments happen and just know that it's going to be okay and it's going to be an amazing time no matter what happens. Even if it ended up being you guys getting married in your backyard, it's going to be a beautiful thing. It's about you guys. But about the client, I resonate with you because I want to fix everything as well. And you want to be the hero, right? Like that's my problem too. I want to be everybody's hero. And sometimes you just can't be. But I'm sure Brock probably gave you Rosario's information for that credit repair, maybe. And we're all gonna hook each other up. And that is where you are connecting people to a solution. You may not have it right now, but you're giving them those tools and those solutions to get to where they need to be. And people will never forget that. So the
Yeah.
follow-up, my friend, that's the important piece, right? So set that in your calendar.
Yeah, he gave me a win-win to reach out. Like either like, hey, we're gonna get this figured out to where they're gonna get seller concessions and things like that to help repairs, or we might just be moving on to a new home and you're gonna be better off that way. So it's just creating solutions for whatever they may be is I think a way to go. Even though it's not the solution, it might be a solution. So
It's a solution. You're still giving them something to work towards, even though you might not be able to give them the answer they want right now.
yep.
We all deal with that objection each and every day. So kudos to you. Thanks for letting me pick on you and sharing. Brock, let's hear from you this morning.
Hunter, well job there, buddy. Him and I were texting back and forth, and I love scenarios, and I love when people like I got a problem. And I love solving problems. I don't know why I'm weird, but I want to pick apart a little bit some of the things that you said. Okay, so I want everybody to kind of just take a little pause from whatever your head space is at right now. And I want you to think about a couple things, because one of the things I've realized in life is we lack in this area at a very high level. And what happens is it's not until we get into the moment that we're like, oh shit, I'm not ready for this. So you said the word plan. I want you to write that down. All PLAN. For those that I'm so used to spelling for Bryce, so that's why I spelled it right there is plan. So I want you to understand that Todd Harris spoke about this about 2 years ago. And I remember it to this day because after he said it, I was like, damn, I don't have a plan for this. And he says, what happens if your daughter's room caught on fire and you couldn't get to her? And I was just, I don't really have a plan for that. And see, what happens is our plans sometimes don't develop until a catastrophe happens, or instead of like some shit show takes place, then we're just like, oh, I guess I need to get a plan for that. So I want you to start thinking ahead of time on some plans, because when the fire happens, it's too late and you could lose somebody. And let's just be honest. So I immediately went to Amazon and I started to map out a fire. Well, I didn't go to Amazon first. I started to map out a fire plan, and I realized I need to get one of those fire ladders that my daughter can throw out her window. And then we practice how to throw it out the window. So that way, when the situation came into play, it's not her first time she's practicing throwing it out the window. And John Root could talk about this in the military and everything else, is there's plans for every freaking thing you possibly could happen. So I ask you all, when you go on vacation, I'm sure you have it mapped out. I'm sure you have your suitcase packed for the bathing suit, maybe skiing, maybe for any situation that comes into play. I'm going to be ready for it. So my question to you, are you ready for your next shit show? Are you ready for when somebody pisses you off? Are you ready for when somebody cuts you off? Are you ready for when somebody tries to cut in front of you at the grocery store? Are you ready for when you lose the deal? Are you ready for when suddenly the IRS comes into your bank account and takes your money? Are you ready for your credit cards to suddenly your credit score changes, so they max out everything that you thought you had that credit there and they change it up on you? Are you ready for somebody to bitch you out today? Are you ready for your child to come home and say somebody picked on me? And if you're not, you got to start looking at yourself, because did I say something? Put a 5 in the chat if I mentioned something that has happened to you, or know somebody that's happened to you, or you get home and your wife wants to divorce you, your husband wants to divorce you, and all of a sudden things just start going in a totally different direction and we go off the handle because we don't have a plan.
And
So
a
I
lot of times,
challenge you.
Brock, I will say sometimes you can't plan for these things. We don't expect all of those things to always happen all the time. But I think it goes back to pausing before
That's
reacting.
that's it. That's exactly
Exactly.
what it is, Justine. That you said was the gold nugget that I wanted to bring back to everybody, is, are you pausing to be able to reflect? Do you
Right.
have somebody you can have a conversation with? Do you have somebody that's in your wheelhouse? That's why I love when Justine calls me and she shared with me her story with her friend. And I used the word enable. I believe that was one of the words I
Yep.
used. And you have to, it's a very slippery slope, an enabling. And I said to her as well as you can't prevent somebody or slow somebody down on their way to their bottom.
Yep.
I had many people who try to slow me down from my bottom, but I needed to hit it myself.
Right.
So what you said of pausing, I mean, Justine, that right there is, I'm going to ask you, Justine, what's your pause?
My pause a lot of the times is like, we all know I'm real nice till I'm not. And so sometimes my filter will not always be there. So I am definitely trying to be very cognizant of what comes out of my mouth before I say it. And again, it goes back to me being an empath is I'm always thinking, okay, if I say this, how's it going to make them feel? And then what response am I going to get back? I mean, my brain is like "Burr," all the time. It doesn't stop. So it's really the reflection is taking that time for me, pausing for Justine, not be thinking all the time for everybody else. What do I need in that moment? I mean, that's what I'm working on. I'm working on Justine right now. And so that's my pause. That's my pause is thinking and being honest with myself. What energy is this taking from me? It's okay to be selfish, guys. Like it is okay to be a little bit selfish because again, me being an empath person and wanting everybody to win, I've had to realize not everybody's going to work as hard as me, and that's okay. And I will meet anybody where they're at. But
Can I ask you a couple more questions to dive a
yeah,
little bit
let's
deeper
go.
on you?
Yeah.
So your pause, this is important all to understand that because identifying it is one thing. Okay. Now you identified it, right? But what does that pause look like? Is it going for a walk? Is it reading a book? Is it counting to 10? Is it going to go, I don't know, do push-ups? Is it to say a prayer? So my pause is especially around family. I do this and I whistle. That is an indicator that I just need a little bit of a breather and it lets everybody around me know Wendy will start laughing or she's like, okay, I hear you. Like that is
So
an
they're all aware
indicator.
of your pause. I like that. Okay.
So people in my environment also know like I just need a minute to dissect and divulge and to understand what was just said to me or not said to me. So
Right.
I ask you, like, what does your pause look like?
Well, I'm still learning that. And I like the fact that your people know that when you whistle, that's okay. That's my indicator. That's okay, guys. Just give me a breather. A lot of times I will just need to walk away, especially if it's, something that I'm upset with my husband or my kids or whatever. They know I need some time. Leave mom alone. Let Justine do her thing for a few minutes so I can gain clarity in my head, right? So sometimes we have to pause the noise and we have to clear that noise so we don't act out of emotion and we don't say things out of emotion. That is something that each human being, I don't care who you are, we all face that, right? But it's these little tools. And I love the fact that Brock, you shared with me that whistling and just letting the family know up front, hey, when I'm pushed, this is what I need. So I'm going to add that to my toolbox and I'm going to think about that one specific thing. But a lot of times it will be I just need alone time. Whether it's I go for a walk, I go to the gym. Honestly, I told y'all last week, I'm a huge music person. So sometimes it's just going for a drive and listening to whatever kind of music I want to listen to in that moment.
So here's one that I use when I'm in public all and I'm in an environment that you can't whistle like you can't whistle at the attorney's office
Right.
because you just met them. They're like, why is this guy whistling right now? So I have a code that I say, ugh, the school's called me 3 times. Could you just give me a second?
Yep.
And then I step out because nobody's going to bitch. Nobody's going to be like, what's going
Yeah.
on? Nobody's going to
What are they going to
argue with
say?
me. It's just the school's called me a couple of times. Let me just take this real quick because I need to think. I need to unfuse whatever problem there is, whatever's going on, And whatever, if you don't have kids, then you got to come up. Maybe it's my fiance. My fiance's called me twice. We kind of have a thing that if she calls me twice back to back, excuse me for a second. There's nothing wrong with it all. You're not going to get in trouble. The police aren't going to come. You're not having like a huge lie. It's just you just need a moment because you probably could do something or say something that could really destroy the whole entire conversation. And then you come back and you're just like, hey, you know what? While I was talking over there at my school, I thought about this to solve this problem. Or you come in with a totally different attitude, which then addresses and you're moving on. Very seldom do I ever have anybody say like, what happened? What happened at school? Like they don't,
Right.
I mean, they don't care.
They don't care. They just want to make sure it's okay. You'll come back to the conversation. They'll be like, is everything okay? Say, yeah,
Yeah. So
my kid just
those are my
wasn't feeling well.
my two little strategies I do.
I like those. I like those. I'm gonna add those to my toolkit for sure. I like it a lot. I see Bethany shaking her head. Christian giving me a little bit of a nod. I like it. Danny. I see Danny up there smiling too. She's like, yeah, I needed that. I needed
Well,
that.
we
I love
all
it.
have something, Justine, as you know. There's something
Absolutely.
that triggers us. There's something that pokes the bear, for what it is. And sometimes it's also good. Like Mike Castor pokes the bear to me on purpose. Maybe you have somebody that's a coach. I've been freaking Justine, you know me. I've been in your ear and
Yep.
I've been blowing you up on certain things, especially your schedule. And I tell you many times, you're going to hate me, but I'm not, you didn't bring me on board to help you I'm not here to be your friend right this moment. I'm here to coach you on what you need to do. And this
Right.
is where you need to go. And I'm going to poke you. You're going to probably say curse words. You're probably going to give me the middle finger, but there's, as they say, eustress and distress. And
Yep.
sometimes you
Exactly.
need some of that in your life. And so you got to identify those that happen to you. And I think you've been doing a great job, Justine, because I know I'm irking you
Working on it.
sometimes.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. It's been a crazy year of growth and stretching and being pulled in many different directions. And so, again, me pausing, taking a step back and reflecting. It's okay to protect yourself and your energy because although I want to help everybody, sometimes you just can't. But if there's somebody else that I can redirect somebody to help them, then I've helped more so than I probably thought. You don't have to be everybody's lifeboat. You just have to maybe be their life preserver sometimes, but you don't have to carry the weight, right? So give them the tool to save themselves and guide them. You don't have to change their life. And honestly, you guys could probably change so many people's lives just by giving them that little life ring, giving them that little piece of advice, pointing them in that right direction. So I think this was an amazing call today. I really appreciate it. All of you guys last week for being so vulnerable. That was not what I even expected to talk about last week and really even this week. So I just really thought that it was a great conversation. And I love to really hear how you guys are doing this. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all human beings and we are all facing things that most people don't even know about, right? And it's sharing with each other how we get through those hard times. So I appreciate it more than y'all know. Thank you for being raw and real with me. That's what I love. And I'm just appreciative that y'all are all here. So thank you for that. And I
Well,
just want
just
to
thank you, Justine, because being
absolutely.
vulnerable and being open and sharing your friend's story and sharing what you're going through, that seems to be a common theme always, like thinking that, us leaders and leaders in your family, wherever it might be, like we got it all put together. We don't have it put together and we are working through things. I literally shared mine on Tuesday of trying to work through my stuff. So hats off to you, Justine. And before I let you go, I'm going to give my shameless plug that today at 10 a.m. we have power players. We got Justin who's coming on board. He's actually one of our guests. And for those of you who are looking to the one to many sequence of talking to like one person, kind of like what Chris talked about yesterday, we're going to be diving deeper into that today at 10 o'clock. No matter what your business is, we can help you with that. And he's going to be one of our coaching guests today. So 10 o'clock today, Eastern time. We'll put that in the chat too. Justine,
Yes.
close
And
this
I'm
out,
going to give
girl.
a plug for Atlanta March 10th, Further Together. Y'all come to
Yeah.
Atlanta. Brock is going to be there. Brock is going to be pouring into the crowd. And I'm so excited just to be able to share. Honestly, I've really framed this around so many people who have been so integral to my whole entire year last year. And I'm just excited to share that with y'all. And whether you're in real estate or not, come. If you're an entrepreneur in any sort of shape, way, or fashion, come to this event, guys. These being in those rooms, especially with the success summits, guys, it changes you in so many different ways. And I'm so excited to be able to share that, pour that into. I'm hoping to get 200 people in the room. We'll see. We'll see. So y'all reach out. Would love to see you guys here in Atlanta. And I look forward to hearing from y'all soon. But I want to leave you with, where's my last liner? Pausing isn't weakness, it's confidence. And even if it's building, it's still confidence it's building. So pausing is not a weakness, my friends. Pause before you react and don't react out of emotion. I love you guys. Have a happy Thursday. And I'm always here if you guys need me.